week's video, I am going to tell you how and when I started generating consistent leads and inquiries through Instagram. It wasn't an overnight success, and just for anyone who is new to me and to my story and this YouTube channel, let's just rewind really quickly to give you a little bit of context around who I am and why I'm here. So back in 2015, I started working at a big digital marketing agency. And at that agency, I was tasked with growing the accounts of big name brands like Canon and Disney Baby and Quorn. At that time, I set myself a challenge. Could I implement the same strategies that I was using for these huge, famous brands and see similar results on Instagram? I picked a niche, which was front doors in London, and I set about growing that account. And fast forward a few years, and I saw really great results. I grew a really big, engaged community. What that did for me was it got me great exposure. I was featured in some really amazing places, invited to some really cool events. And people started reaching out to ask me if I could help them grow their communities on Instagram. So while I continued to grow that account, I started helping business owners grow their communities on the side of my corporate job. And I realized that yes, I know how to grow a big engaged community, but I also know how to convert those followers. And I was doing this for the businesses that I was working with on the side. Towards the end of 2019, I realized that I wanted to do this full time. I didn't want it to be my side hustle anymore. I wanted my consultancy services to be what I did full time. So I set about thinking, okay, how can I start to market myself on Instagram so that I can generate leads for my consultancy business? And I realized that even though I had had huge success with the Instagram account, The Doors of London, it wasn't the right audience, and I wasn't making any money or generating many leads through it at all, despite having a really big community. And so I really had to start from the ground up. I set up a new Instagram account, which is the one I run now, and I started from scratch. And so I wanted to share in this week's video how I actually quite quickly started generating consistent leads and inquiries through that Instagram account that I set up at the end of 2019, how I started to do that, and when I started to actually make an income, hopefully to inspire some of you, to show you the journey that I took, and also to motivate you and prove to you that I started from scratch. I had a really big Instagram account and audience, and yes, it is amazing and it got me exposure, but there's a difference between a really big engaged community and converting an engaged community. And it isn't about the numbers. You don't have to have 5 figures to do that. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell button. I upload a new video to this channel every single Friday, all about Instagram marketing. I would love to see you here next week. And now without further ado, let's get into the good stuff. So when did I start making a consistent income through my Instagram account? It was about 6 months into setting up at Bella Foxwell that I started to generate a more consistent level of inquiries, DMs, people asking me if I could help them with their Instagram account. So about 6 months in, but what did I do to help me get there? Well, the first thing I did, and this is a little bit, this is a bit of a segue from Instagram strategy itself, I set up an email list. Having an email list is so important. It's another way of staying in touch and staying front of mind with your audience on the days that they're not on Instagram and on the days that the algorithm may not be on your side and your content isn't being served to everyone. There are so many stats about how powerful email marketing is in converting people into customers, and I have seen that myself with my email list. You may already have heard the saying that lots of entrepreneurs say, which is growing your business or marketing your business through platforms like Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, whatever it may be. We don't own that. And tomorrow, any or all of those could disappear. And then what would happen to those people in your audience? How would you continue to communicate with them? You wouldn't be able to. And that's the power of having something that you own, which is your email list. The second thing I did was I fixed my content. Now, even as an Instagram strategist for years, even on the side of my corporate job, even as a content creator and someone who's very familiar with what good content is and what good content isn't, my content wasn't great. I was I was in the early stages, I was experimenting, and hey, that beginning stage of figuring out your flow and your style with content, we all go through it. But yeah, my content at the beginning of setting up my new Instagram account about Instagram consultancy, it wasn't great, and it makes me cringe a little bit to see it now, but I'm also grateful because I had to do that to get to where I am today. So I fixed it. I got more serious about the content. I made it more engaging. I made it bolder. I needed to stand out on a really saturated platform and in a really saturated market. You know, there are so many Instagram strategists out there that I really needed my content to just be the best that it possibly could be. And that, you know, in 2020 was so important, but in 2021, it's so important that your content is at its best. You know, you are living your content A game. Instagram, after all, is an image-first platform, and if your content isn't brilliant, then you won't see as much success as you could otherwise. The next thing that I did was I put a content strategy in place. It's funny because when you come from agency world and you are working at these big corporations, managing Instagram accounts for big name brands, a lot of the content that you are creating and a lot of the content calendars you're putting together are based on really arbitrary things, like arbitrary events. I mean, okay, Christmas, summer, spring, the seasons, okay, I get it. But it's also a lot of National Dog Day or National Cookie Day, and how can we link our content to this random national day? It's a tenuous link at best. And I realized that I couldn't keep creating content in this way. I had to be smarter with the content I was creating. Now, this is the kind of strategy that I walk through with my one-to-one clients, but I'll give you a sneak peek here. So essentially, I realized that I would be better off aligning my content to the customer journey. So rather than thinking about random days in the calendar, I thought, what type of content should I create to attract my target customer to my account, to deepen relationships with them, to serve them value and provide answers to their questions that will help build trust with them? And then what content do I need to create to help convert them, to get them off the fence and make a decision about working with me or buying one of my products? It was very, very deliberate. And I have seen my content strategy, I've seen the results off the back of that, and it's transformed the way I run my Instagram account. I've seen it transform the way that my clients market their businesses on Instagram. It's so much more effective having a strategy that's very mindful of the customer journey. So I'd really take a good look at your content strategy to make sure that it is actually moving the needle for your business. It really is fulfilling a purpose, and it is really helping move your target customer closer to becoming a customer of yours, closer to that conversion. The next thing I did was I got serious about content planning. I am a huge advocate for content planning, and I know that there are times in our lives and there are seasons in our business when we fall out of the habit of content planning. But as much as possible, I try to get ahead with planning my Instagram content. And it sounds obvious and it sounds boring and it sounds simple, but you wouldn't believe the amount of time I was wasting day to day or every other day coming up with an idea for a post and then scrabbling to create it, and then scrabbling to think of a caption, and then thinking about my hashtags. Collectively, every other day, this was such a huge amount of time that I could have been spending on building relationships with people by chatting to them in the DMs. I could have spent that time on sales calls. I could have spent that time writing a blog post that would help, you know, the more kind of long-term SEO of my website and of my brand. But instead, I was spending all of this time flustered and stressed on individual Instagram posts. And that is such a big waste of time. And it also meant, and it means for you if you're stuck in this cycle, it meant that I was really emotionally invested in every piece of content I was creating. And so when I hit publish, I was sat there by my phone waiting and praying that that post was going to do well, because I just spent a lot of time creating it and I didn't want it to be for nothing. So getting serious about content planning and getting into a good habit with it as much as I possibly could really meant that I freed up a huge amount of time and energy every single week to actually move the needle on my business, to grow my business. So the next thing I did was I streamlined the client journey. So when I first started running my Instagram account at Bella Foxwell, I had loads of options for people to take when they hit the link in my bio. Now remember, when people are hitting that link in your bio, for 99% of people, it's because they know you, they have a relatively good relationship with you and your brand, and they are ready to take that next step. If you give people 6 options to take when they get to that link in the bio, go check out my new blog post, go check out our sales page, go check out this latest offer, go download my freebie. There's so many options for people to take that they'll either jump away from that link in the bio because they're overwhelmed by choice, or they will go down a path that you may want them to go down, but ultimately isn't what you want them to do. Because what is your goal on Instagram? Is it to build your email list? Or is it to book more clients or make more sales? This can change from season to season, and it's changed in my business from quarter to quarter. But getting really streamlined and getting really serious about what is my goal right now on Instagram. And right now, my goal on Instagram, well, as of last week, my goal on Instagram was to sell my course because I was in a launch period. But at the end of last year, my goal was to build my email list. So I made that my primary goal on Instagram, and I really streamlined the client journey. I made there to be one link in my bio, which went directly to my free guide, my month worth of Instagram stories guide. So that when people were ready to take that next step with me, the call to action in my bio was super clear. Free 1 month of story ideas. Then they clicked the link in my bio and they had just one option to take, and then they downloaded the guide and they got on my email list. Perfect. Really simple for them, really simple for me, and it was achieving my primary goal on Instagram. And last but not least, one of the most powerful things I have done to turn my Instagram account into a consistent lead generator is setting up this YouTube channel. This YouTube channel every single week brings people to my email list or to my Instagram account who typed a search query into Google and found my YouTube channel that way. It is so valuable for organic SEO. And yes, I have to put time and energy into creating these videos every single week, but I know that the payoff is worth it. Like anything, the first year of this YouTube channel, the subscriber growth and the results I was seeing were really, really slow. But a year on, I'm now seeing the exponential growth. I'm suddenly growing much more quickly, and I am seeing people come into my Instagram account. I'm seeing people come into my email list regularly every single month. And I even had a couple of people sign up to Instagram Planning Pro, the course that I launched recently, directly from YouTube. So what I would say to you is, apart from your Instagram account, definitely firstly set up your email list. This is the priority, I would say. And then after that, have some way that you can capitalize on organic SEO, whether that is a YouTube channel or whether that is a blog that you write every single week. Pick something you can be consistent with and just go for it. It isn't going to be an immediate money maker. You aren't going to see overnight success, but that is the benefit of something that is going to, over time, really reap the benefits of organic SEO. That type of content is much more evergreen. You know, I'm seeing people that are watching some of my videos that are 15 months old. That's the power of it. And that content is much more evergreen and has a much longer lifespan than content on social media platforms like Instagram. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up and don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell button. I'd love to know how you're getting on growing your business and marketing yourself through Instagram. It is a long game. It doesn't happen overnight, but I promise you that with patience and the right strategy, you will see results. I will see you next week for a brand new video. Just before you go, don't forget to check out these 2 lovely videos here. One which is about hashtags in 2021, my perspective and my suggested strategy, and this video here which is how to increase your reach and discovery in 2021. I'll see you next week for a brand new video. Thank you for watching, everyone. Bye.